27 ounce Worth Krecher, big barrel, 13.5 inch, half ounce in load, 27 ounce. Think I said that already. Use code BPHero at headbangersports.com to get yours. Let's check her out. All right, so we're going to come out here today and do our best Ryan Harvey impression, since that's who this bat is made after. If you're looking for a Ryan Harvey impression here, you're going to be extremely disappointed, but we tried our hardest. If you're new to the channel or haven't seen a video from us on this field, this is the good old softball field that is basically like 280 right down in the very, very corner, and then breaks out to 290 within the first few pulls, and it's basically 290 all the way around from there. This bat was brand new out of the wrapper to start the day. And doing our usual here where we get a handful of swings on it with some 52-300 balls just to kind of get it loosened up, and then we'll work into the classic and pro-am balls from there. You'll see down in the right hand corner when we switch to the harder U-trip stuff. This bat is USSSA's new 240 compression standard, and it did swing true to weight. And just like last year's model, this is a half ounce of end load and did feel maybe like a little bit more than a half ounce. The 13.5 inch barrel on this thing did feel tight, and that's been pretty much an overall theme with the 240 bats so far. The sweet spot is going to be a little bit on the smaller side and kind of expand and break in. It's not just completely unforgiving where you can just take the wrapper off and hit bombs. You're going to have to put a little bit of work into breaking these things in, and we did have to do that with this one. 52s will jump off of pretty much anything you hit with them as long as you put a good swing on it. But just to kind of get the outer layers of the bat broken in, until we kind of figure out what we're working with here. Some of these bats might not need it, but until we can figure out what does and what doesn't, that's kind of what we're doing. So the 52s did loosen this up a little bit, but it got noticeably better even after the short round of classic and pro-ams that we put on it here. The sweet spot really started to come around, and this thing was hitting the ball pretty well. This is a composite handle and feels no different than the rest of the Worth and Mike and stuff has for quite a while. There's really any weird two-piece feedback unless you just absolutely flat out miss right off the end of the bat or burn your hands on the taper. Mike and Worth have done a really good job of making an extremely forgiving two-piece bat as far as flex and weird feedback goes. With kind of the specs and the nerdy stuff out of the way, we'll finish up some 52 swings here, and then we will head over to the labs. Yeah, here it comes. Woo! All right, so on a scale, this 27 ounce came in at 27.7 with the original grip still on it. And compression testing, brand new in the wrapper, this came in at the 276 mark. And after about 40 to 50 swings with 52s, it did come down about 10 pounds to the 265 mark. And after about 40 classic and pro-ams, the compression is starting to slow down. It's still dropping, but it is starting to slow down, which is something that we've also kind of seen with the Worth and Mike and stuff. Even if they do test a little bit high, they're going to drop quick and then kind of slow down once they start dropping from there. At least that was the case with the Freak Primo that we also reviewed. Pretty much the same exact thing we're seeing on the tester here. The short barrel stuff would be a different story. There will be reviews on that stuff coming up soon. We did need this to pass compression, so we didn't get too carried away with hitting the hard stuff. And just getting a close-up look at the bat here, just going over it, looking for any kind of imperfections, paint chips, any kind of weird seams or blemishes or anything that might show up on the bat that could be a cause for concern. Really the only thing you're seeing is the little bitty paint chip right in the middle of that big ball mark there, and really honestly that's probably from a piece of mud or a piece of dirt or something on the ball that just took a piece of paint with it when it came off. Outside of that, this bat is structurally sound and holding up great. And you know the deal if you've been here. While we're at the labs, let's check out the top comment from the last 2021 slow pitch model review, and everybody say hello to the new subscribers. With this stuff out of the way, let's head over to the field and see what everybody wants to see, the action with some hard softballs. So I'm just going to be blunt here with my overall thoughts on this thing. BPHero approved. I really like this bat. It reminded me a ton of the Mike and Freak Primo that we've also reviewed here on the channel, and where I did feel like the Freak Primo started off a little bit slow, I do think after swinging this that it just had 100% everything to do with the mass of the bat. The Freak Primo in this bat felt extremely identical. Once you got past like the weighting issue, we thought that it was just starting slow with the break-in, but I really think it was just the bat being a little bit lighter. It was just hard to get the mass behind the ball to get it to go how you wanted, because this thing was pretty good even from the jump. Like I said, hitting the 52-300, it's all about how you hit it. It doesn't really matter what you hit it with, but we've hit enough bats and kind of know what we're dealing with here to know that we knew this thing was feeling good, and once the hard balls came out, it just confirmed our theory even more that this bat was going to be a good one. I was very curious to see what this thing would have been like if we'd have gotten 50 to 100 more swings on it after this day with some Classic and Pro-Ams, just to kind of see how the progression of the compression goes and how much better this thing was going to perform, because I thought it hit really well. I had a pretty good round with this thing. It's really hard to go wrong with this big barrel Worth and mic and stuff. Even though I have mentioned in some of my podcasts and a couple of the other 240 reviews that you've got to earn your hits with these 240s, that is true. You still got to strike a ball well. A good hitter with a 220 bat would be a good hitter with this new standard 240 bat. Just the sweet spot is going to be a little bit smaller, and the barrel itself is going to be a little bit less forgiving and a little bit stiffer feeling. But even with all those things considered, the Mike and Freak Primo and this Krecher both still did a really good job of being very forgiving, considered what they're going up against for these 240 model bats. So if you do decide you want to try one out, you can hit me up on Facebook or Instagram at the BP Hero, and I can get you one of these through headbangersports.com, or you can even just head over to the website and use code BP Hero and grab yourself one. If you get one, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you like this thing as much as we did, if you hated it, we're open to all feedback around here. I will be doing a video comparing the Mike and Freak Primo and the Worth Krecher here, just so you can see side by side. These things look, feel, and sound almost exactly identical when it comes to performance and sound and everything else. So be on the lookout for that video. It'll be coming up here pretty soon as well. Going to start in with some ASA reviews soon as well. I know some guys have been really wanting to get some of that stuff going. Availability has been pretty hard to come by with the ASA stuff, and with the new standard U-shaped bats really being a hot topic, I've been trying to kind of focus on those for a little bit. But I'm about ready to start dabbling into some ASA stuff, so stay tuned for that. To catch up with all of that content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Swing hard in case you hit it. I'll see you then.
When I get a little bit